Hey guys, good morning. What a beautiful day we have before us. I'm actually at a pastor summit, which is it's been really great. Meeting some of the other Calvary Chapel pastors. But today we're going to be at the end of Mark chapter 4, and we're going to be challenged on our um, confidence in trusting Jesus Christ. So we're going to be in verse 35. It says, on the same day when evening had come, they said to them, "Let us cross over to the other side." And now, when they had left the multitude, they took him along in a boat as he was. And other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." The wind ceased, and then there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, "Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea might obey him?" So Jesus has already been sharing a lot of parables, teaching to many of the multitudes and his disciples, and now they have to go over to the other side, which is unique because the other side was where the Gadarenes lived. They were kind of seen as almost like a half breed, even though they were from the tribe of Gad originally. They had gone completely in a different direction. We'll find that they've been, they raise pigs, which is just completely opposite of what anybody would have expected a Jewish family to do. But he just says, "Listen, we got to get over to the other side." And knowing all things, clearly Jesus would have known that there would be an incredible storm, that the disciples would have to go through this. Now, one little thing I wanted to note out here, it says, "And other little boats were also with him." So, in this particular event, it wasn't just Jesus and his disciples in a single boat, but it seems to us like there was other small boats out there. And when this great storm arose, everyone was scared. They were fearful. Water was filling up the boat. It was just crazy, and the disciples would have just been as if like, what is going on? And then they look around, and there's Jesus. Like, he's just got his head rested back on a pillow, completely just sound asleep. And they're freaking out, like, you gotta do something. Like, you don't even care that we're all gonna die. Like, you're asleep. What is wrong with you? Is kind of probably more the context and the intentionality in which they spoke that. You don't even care that we're gonna die. Like, this is nuts. And he says, he rose, and just simple, like, just peace, be still. He rebuked the wind and the waves. It just calmed it down with just a single word. Um, and and that very action, it gives us a reminder that God is really truly sovereign in all things. I mean, there is one thing we cannot control at all, and that would be the wind. We have no way to even know where it's coming, how strong it's going to be, where it's going. We can't control the wind at all, especially on a global scale. That's just impossible. And for him to just shut that thing down is a reminder that he has power over things that are so outside of our control. And as a result is of everything just becoming still. You can almost imagine it would have been like you could drop a pin and hear it. Just calm and flat, just in an instant, right there. The disciples would have just looked at each other and, man, and be like, "This is unbelievable." And he says he kind of rebukes them, right? He's like, why are you so afraid? Why are you have so little faith? And I can imagine that the disciples were like, "Are you kidding me? Like, look what's going on. Like, that's why we're afraid. Like, we were gonna die. But here's the deal. So many times in life, like, we are drawn into, or even like going into a storm, And we have no idea how bad it's going to get. We have no idea how fierce it may be. We don't know, is it just going to continue to amp up more and more and more to a place where we feel like we are so out of control. Like I don't know. And then we can look at a story like this and we can be reminded, right? When we're a disciple of Jesus Christ, like there's no like surprises. It's not like I was like, whoa, I didn't realize that was going to happen in our lives. No, he understands it. He knows it. And he has a capacity to just calm every bit of it. Now the reality of it is, though, sometimes he doesn't just calm the circumstantial storm, but rather he's doing this for the disciples, not to just say, hey, I can calm the wind and the waves, but because there was a heart condition that was a problem. That even though there was wind and waves, they were going to be okay. And if they would have just stayed the course and rode the storm out, then they would have got to the other side and everything would have been all right. And Jesus he would just continue to rest. But because of their fear and because of their concern, personally, he does this awesome miracle and just calms everything down. And I want to remind you, right, that's the very thing that the Lord can do. He can calm the storm in which you have, and most of it is because of what's going on inside of us. It's an increase in fear. It's a lack of faith or trust in God to see us through this season of life. And in those moments, we can have just such great hope and peace. And even though there are waves that are beating up and crashing all around us, that we can have such great hope and be those ones that would have been able to sit there and be like, you know what? He really does command the wind and the waves. I can't even believe this. And have a peace that surpasses all understanding as we just put our faith and our trust in the Lord and see his mighty work in his hand. And these guys were changed. They were changed as a result of that. They would understand that they would need this sort of a faith and a trust to complete the work that God has for them. So I encourage you. I don't know what's going on in your life. Perhaps there is a storm and a trial, but while the Lord is 100% sovereign, he is more concerned about what's going on in your heart. And he can certainly calm the wind and the waves that beat at your life. But he's going to be working on your fear. He's going to be working on your trust. And he's going to, and that's really his heart is who you're becoming and not your circumstances. I love you guys. Be encouraged and challenged and strengthened today by God's word. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.